on now with Mr. Lloyd. Mr. Lloyd, please go ahead, 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll start with Commissioner Duhem. Were any of the killers, the alleged killers of Mr. Najjar, known to the RCMP before the killings took place in that investigation?
The Najjar case right now is before the courts, and I'm not going to make any comments on the Najjar file as it's before the courts. Disclosure will happen in due course through the judicial process.
But it's been publicly reported that the 4 killers, we have Amandeep Singh, Karen Brar, Karen Preet Singh, Kamal Preet Singh, forgive me if the pronunciation's incorrect, these alleged killers were all temporary residents. Is that the case?
I would have to go back in my notes to confirm that these were all temporary residents. I couldn't answer.
Reported in the news. Can any of the other witnesses comment on that? This has been publicly reported in the Toronto Sun. Was nobody aware at our RCMP services that of any criminal background of these characters before they were allowed to come to Canada?
I'm not saying that nobody is not aware. What I'm saying is the matter is before the courts, and I'm not going to comment on it.
Well, this has nothing to do with the current investigation, Commissioner, but it has a concern. It has a concern about whether or not our country is prepared to protect our national security. That's what we're talking about today. And if people with criminal backgrounds are coming to our country, being allowed to come to our country through the temporary resident program and possibly through the international student program, that's a serious breach of our national security. And that's our immigration system after 9 years of this Liberal government. In the case of Amandeep Singh, who has been accused of killing Mr. Najjar, were you aware that Amandeep Singh was on bail when the killing took place of Mr. Najjar?
Again, I'd have to go through my notes of the briefing because it's happened quite some time ago, and a lot of things have happened since then.
Well, I guess I'll enlighten the committee. As was reported in the Toronto Sun, there was a March 2023 warrant for fleeing police and the dangerous operation of a motor vehicle in Surrey, BC last November. He was pinched on firearms and drug charges in Brampton. He was out on bail at the time of the Peel Region incident. He agreed in Surrey that he wouldn't possess firearms or ammo or get behind the wheel of the car. He made his first court appearance in June 16th of 2023. 2 days later, this is according to the Toronto Sun, Sikh Canadian activist Hardeep Singh Najjar was killed. Why are these dangerous criminals who are here as temporary residents, possibly here as international students, I don't know what educational institution they're attending, why are they allowed to be out on bail? This is like, if we're watching these people, we know they're a threat to national security. Why are they here? Why are they allowed to be out on bail? Why are they allowed to walk Canadian streets?
Chair, the answer to that, I think one is the process of providing them visas or access to entry into Canada. It's best to be posed to IRCC. And if people are released on bail before the courts, that's got nothing to do with the RCMP. It's a judicial process that we operate within.
I think Canadians will be somewhat concerned. We have, many of the lead figures from our national security establishment, and there doesn't appear to be any sort of coordination between Immigration Canada, between our security services, and I'm not getting a lot of confidence today that our national security is being protected in this country under this government when it appears that our immigration system has been compromised in this case, when it appears that our justice system is being compromised, and these accused killers are being allowed to walk on the street and go after Canadian citizens, particularly Canadian citizens of Sikh background. I think that's deeply concerning to me, and I think that should be a major focus of what this investigation is. What processes did our country have that could have prevented this? Yes, we can talk about briefing foreign media outlets in order to get this information out. We can talk about the fact that the Prime Minister had information on this, but if we're not fixing our systems like our immigration system and our justice system, it's going to allow these very dangerous criminals to walk on our street. How long have you been investigating, Commissioner Duhem, how long have you been investigating Indian foreign interference on Canadian soil?
Oh, I wouldn't be able to provide the committee with an exact date.
It just seems to me that this has become an issue very recently, and I suspect it has been a long time issue, but it really seems to have come to a boil in the last few years. Can you tell this committee maybe why this has become an issue in the last few years? It seems to have become a big issue.
Whole question, I would take you back when the director of CSIS, former director David Vigneault, brought to the forefront the immediate risk to Canadians with the ideological motivated violent extremists. That was pretty new to us because it wasn't on the radar. And I would say foreign interference, although it was probably happening way before it came to the forefront like it is right now. But I think it's a phenomenon that we've learned over the years, and it's present more now than what we've seen before because there's probably more intelligence and work being done.
But I'm not saying that this has never been an issue and that it only became an issue
you, Mr.
recently.
Lloyd.
This has obviously been a serious issue, and so thank you for that.
Thank you. We seem to have the bells. Let's find out what's going on with the bells for a minute. Actually, while we're finding out, we'll go to Ms. DeMoff for 5 minutes.
Thank you. And I want to start by sincerely thanking all of you and the people that work with you for the work that you've done on this. I think it was a shock for me to just see how pervasive this issue was in Canada and how Canadian lives were being put at risk. So I just sincerely thank you to all of you for the work that you've done. I do, just quickly before I get to some of the questions I had, Ms. Drouin, you looked like you wanted to say something to the previous question. I just wondered if you could respond, please.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I just want to say that we take the immigration security screening very seriously. It's a process that involves IRCC, CBSA, CSIS, RCMP. Yes, as any other field, always room for improvement, but it is not something that we are not taking, as I said, seriously. I need also to say that we cannot take for granted that those individuals came to Canada with criminal backgrounds. Maybe it is sometimes the situation, but we cannot take for granted that it is always the situation. And, doing a good screening also involves having a very good partnership and relation with the country of origin, as we need to also rely on their own information. So those are the information that I want, and thank you for giving me this opportunity.